So hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and this is going to be one of the most important iOS interview series video, because in this video we're going to talk about notifications and observer communication pattern. So far we have already learned about delegate and protocol communication pattern and closures pattern. So in this video we're going to see how we can use notifications and observers to communicate between two view controllers using this simple app example. So here you can see this app here where we have two view controllers. This one is quiz view controller, in which we are simply asking who won the US elections 2020, and as we already know, the winner is Biden. All right, so here if you click on the options button, you will see the options view controller right here, where we have two options, Biden and Trump. And whenever you select any one of the option, we need to send some information from this options view controller to our very first quiz view controller. So this is our task which we will perform and implement using our notification and observer communication pattern. So without any further ado, let's get started. So guys, the first thing that we are going to do is to create the notification name, and for that I'll just simply create a struct, and the struct name would be quiz notification name. Quiz notification name, let me write this a little quick, and we will create a static let property, static let, and quiz answer. Okay, so I'll name it ns notification dot name, and now you need to write the raw value for this. You can write the raw value inside your constant files as well. In this example I'm just writing it right here, so it's completely your wish, whatever value you want to name and wherever you want to write it. Okay, so I have written it right here. Now the next thing that I'm going to do, let's understand this one thing as well, because this notification name plays a very important role when you are triggering the notification and when you are adding the observer at some particular place. So you need to write, and you need to make sure that you are using the same name that you have written right here. So suppose if I am triggering some notification using this particular name called quiz answer, then I need to add the observer with the same notification name, otherwise things would not work. The only way the observer can identify that this notification has been pushed or has been triggered is by only recognizing the name of the notification. So you need to make sure that you are writing the correct name at both the places. So let's come to the second part of the video, which is adding the observer to our view controller. And where we need to add the observer, we need to add the observer at the place where we want to observe that some notification has been fired or not. And in this case, as you can see in the application, we have the first screen, which is quiz view controller, and at this place we want to observe whatever options we have selected from our second view controller, because on the second view controller we do have two options. As you can rightly see, we have Biden Harris, we have Trump Pence. But if I select any one of them, I want to send some information to our previous view, which is quiz view controller, which is this controller, and I want to observe the changes right here on this screen. So let's write the observer right here on this screen only. So I'll write the code inside this initial setup function, or you can say method. So I have created this initial setup function so that I can keep my view.load function clean, because I don't like to put code directly inside my view.load function. It gets a little bit messy and I don't like it at all. So I've created this initial setup function. Inside it I'll write notification center. So let's write notification center dot default dot add observer, and now you can add the observer. You have three options. You have the first one, which is simply that we are going to use in this example. You will just use a selector method, and according to the notification name you will perform the selector method. In the second one you have a queue parameter as well. You can decide on which queue thread you want to perform your action, so that this method allows us to do that. And in the third one we have this KView approach. We have this key value observation pattern as well, as you know, inside our notification thing. So you can also do that, but in this video we're going to choose the first one. So let's select this one, write the observer, which is self. I want to observe on this instance. Now the second is selector, which we have not yet written, so I'll write it later on. Let's write the name of the notification, which is quiz notification name dot quiz answer, and the third key is object which is nil in this case. Now let's also create the selector method, because I want to trigger the function whenever this particular instance receives a notification. So let's write Objective-C function, which is Objective-C func user answered question. Okay, interesting name, no? So I'll write a parameter as well inside it, so that I can access the notification. And why I want to access the notification, because maybe I have passed some information inside my notification which I want to use inside this method. So that's why I have written notification parameter right inside it. Now let's just write the name of this method here inside a selector key. So I will write hashtag selector. So the first one, I'll write the Objective-C method name, which is user answered question. There we go. So now we have set up the 2 steps, and we are left with the third one, and then we are good to go. We have already write the name of the notification. Now we have also added the observer at the place we want to observe, and the third step is to trigger the notification from some place. So let's go to the third step. I'll go here on the options view controller from where I want to trigger the notification. So suppose you select any one of these options. You want to send some information inside a notification, so that the earlier screen, the quiz view controller, can get to know if you have selected the right answer or not. I'll simply write how we can trigger the notification. Let's write notification center dot default dot post. So in the post, you can see that we have simply notification name. This third one is having name, object, and user info, and I want to pass some info inside a notification, so I'm going to use this user info method in this case. Just hit enter and write the name of the notification, quiz notification dot quiz answer, which is very important. You need to write the same name as you have written inside your observer. Now the second thing is to pass some value inside the object. So I'm not going to use the object thing, I'm going to use the user info. I'll pass a dictionary inside our user info, so that I can access that dictionary on my first screen, which is quiz view controller, and just can bring out the value which I'm passing inside it. So I need to create a property which is of type dictionary. I'll write where answer, because I want to pass this inside my user info key. So I'll write a string bool, and I'll just initialize it. Okay, now I want to pass some value inside my answer property, so that I can pass it. So I'll write a key name, let's name it answer as well, and I'll pass a boolean value which is true in this case, because Biden is the winner. Okay, so I'll simply pass this answer dictionary inside this parameter called user info. Now I need to do the same thing in the second case of Trump pants as well, but I'll pass false in this case, so that the user can get to know on the first screen that yes, your answer was wrong. So I have passed answer key to be true in this case, and I have passed answer key to be false in this case. I have simply passed this dictionary inside my parameter user info, and I generally use this because you can simply pass a dictionary having multiple key value pairs. In this case we are just passing one key value pair, but in cases when you literally use notification center, then you might have multiple key value pairs that you need to send inside a user info. Okay, so now let's just see that what we have done so far. We have written the name of the notification that we are going to use for both observer and the notification trigger. Then we added the observer. We added the observer right here. Notification center dot default dot adds observer. We written the name of the selector method which we are going to trigger when we receive a notification. We have written that right here, which is called user answered the question. And also one important thing that you need to make sure you have written in your code, that is you need to remove the observer as well when this particular instance de-initialize. So you need to write in the de-init method, you need to write notification center in the same way when you wrote the add observer method. You need to write notification center dot default dot remove observer from self. So now you have made sure that no memory issues sustains in the system when we deinitialize this particular class. So for that you need to write this remove observer method as well when you're using notification observer, but this is not the case when you're using delegate protocol or you may be closures. This is not the case, but in this case you need to write the remove observer method as well, because you need to make sure that there is no memory issues. Other things will be taken care by ARC, but you need to write up till this point. Okay, so now we have the observer, we have the method which will be called when we receive the notification. We have the methods which will be called when any of the option will be selected. Now just run the app and see what happens. Let's also take a breakpoint right here so that we can check if the things are working correctly or not. Okay, in the right side you would see that we have the first view loaded, which is winner of US election 2020, and we have this button called click to see options. I'll click on this button, I'll select say Biden Harris, and we come to this point which is here in the first view controller, and the flow is working quite perfectly. Now all we need to do is to check the information which is kind of passed inside our notification, and you can observe that value by simply writing PO notification and just hit enter, and you would see that there is some value inside it. You can see it has user info which has one element which is a key value pair. That's why it's written 2 elements. The key is the answer which we passed and the value is true because we have selected Biden Harris, which is the real answer of this question. So let's do it in our code as well. We have already checked everything is working fine. Now let's make some changes when we receive the notification. I'll write if lat naughty info equals notification as a dictionary. Let's take it annex dictionary. Okay, now I'll write the answer. I'll write if let answer equals naughty info, and for the key answer which we have written already inside our notification trigger method, so we have a boolean value inside this key, so we'll write as bool. Sorry for the typos that I made. Okay, now we are all good. Okay, it's saying something cannot convert notification. Okay, sorry for that. I have written notification as NS dictionary, whereas I need to write notification dot user info as dictionary. Sorry for that. We need to access the user info. That's why we are going to use user info as a dictionary. Now we have we already know what we have passed, so now I have written the answer key. We need to check the value at answer key. Now let's write if answer is true, then make some change, else make some other change. What change we want to observe is if the answer is correct, I will change the background color of this particular view to green, so that symbolize the green is correct. So that's why I'm just giving the color green. And if the answer is wrong, I'll simply write red. I hope you guys already guessed it. Okay, so what happens when the notification would be triggered? We will receive the notification right here on this particular view called quiz view controller. Then we will perform this action. We will get the user info out of it. We will get the answer keys info out of it. Then we will change the color of our background. Let's run the app and see what happens. So here we have the first view. Let's click on the options. We already read the question. We don't want to read it again. Let's go to the options. Let's select Trump Pence, and it's red because Trump was not the winner. Let's go to the screen again and let's select Biden Harris. Let's select it, and the view is green because we have selected the right answer. You can also see that delegate protocols are used when one-to-one communication has to be set up, whereas notification observers are used when one-to-many communication pattern has to be set up. In this case, I can show you how you can use the one-to-many in this observer notification observer case. So for that, I'll write 2 observers inside my initial setup. I'll write the same observer, but this time with a different triggering method name. Let's copy this, let's write a new one, let's name it differently, user answered. Let's write user answered, and I'll call this one when our second observer is called. So as you can see right here, we have written two observers, which is kind of example of one to many, because the notification observer is popular for having one to many communication. So I have written the same observer name inside it. You can see quiz answer, but I have triggered two different methods. So let's just run this app and see what happens. Let's make some change as well in the second one. I have not written anything yet inside it. Let's change the heading of the question label. Let's change it to suppose yes, you have answered. Okay, now I'm not using any of the info. You can also use the info. Let's just also use that. Okay, let's use the info inside a notification, and I'll write, if the answer is correct, I'll write something else. Yes, you have answered correctly. And if the answer is not right, I'll write better luck next time. So I'll write this, and I'll write inside it better luck next time. Okay, so now just hit Command R and see what happens. You would see that two methods would be called. Both of these methods, user answered question, user answered, would be called because we have added two observers now for the same notification. So now let's click on the C options, and when I will select Biden Harris, you would see that yes, our background color has been changed to green, and also you would see that our question label has been changed to yes, you have answered correctly. Forgive me for the constraints. I have not taken care of constraints in this one because I just wanted to create a demo project. So here we go, here we have the example. I hope you understood what notification observer does, how it works, and if you still have any questions, you can write that in the comment section down below and I will surely reply to that. So guys, see you in the next one. Bye bye. Jai Hind.